welcome to Avio's Journey. This is a show. This is a show. There's no doubt about it. This is a show all about helping the new and upcoming voiceover artists grow their business and sidestep all of the crazy things that I seem to step on. It's great to be here. I think it's been crazy because I literally, after all this time, just updated my system, my Mac. So it went to the the new system and the new operating system, and I held off for the longest time because I was afraid that my Universal Audio Apollo Twin wouldn't work very well with it. So I hadn't updated my computer in a while. So I did that did that Sunday, and now everything that's going on, it's like asking me for permissions again and all the different things that I have to go through. So I lost actually a couple things inside my my OBS system while I was setting up the stream today. So that's why I was a little bit late. So I apologize, but I hope you are doing well. Happy Cinco de Mayo. It's a good day on Tuesday. I was thinking that we probably are not going out to party, but we can definitely party at home, and which will be safer. So that's a good thing. So happy Cinco de Mayo to you. I hope you're having a great week so far. We are in May. It's wild. And it's wild to think, too, that the kids have been home now for months, and we all have too. So, but anyways, it's super exciting to be coming to you, and I want to thank everybody from Instagram, YouTube, Facebook, Twitter. It's great to have you. Today, I want to talk about the importance of thinking big in your voiceover business and how it can literally change everything. A while ago, I read a book called The Magic of Thinking Big. I don't know if you've ever heard of that book. It's a very popular book, and it's called The Magic of Thinking Big. And the idea behind this is that the reason why most of us don't succeed or get to the levels that we want to get to in life, whether it's personal or our businesses, is because we're not thinking big enough. We're not shooting for the stars. And there's that old saying, right, that if you shoot for the stars, even if you miss, okay, you're still going to make it to outer space. You're still going to make it pretty high. But if we don't ever shoot for the stars, we're never going to get there. And I think there's more to the whole idea behind, just besides thinking big or the magic of thinking big. The idea is that I think when we go about building our businesses and we're all in the trenches and we're working super hard, we get an idea. We have these massive, these moments of pure clarity and very interesting things that we come up with, like, oh, I could do that, or I bet this would make a lot of money, or I bet this is a really good thing to market right now, or I bet I could corner this market if I try this. I know there are not a lot of people doing this in voiceover right now, but what if I did this and did this? It would really help the customer, and it would really set that apart. It would really set me apart from everybody else. We come up with these ideas. Some of us come up with these ideas on a daily basis. But you ever wonder why we don't ever pursue them, or we don't ever push ourselves to go beyond where we are just right now? And I think it's because we've been conditioned, mainly because of school, okay, but not on purpose, but it is the way it is. But we've been conditioned in a lot of our lives to not shoot for the stars, to not go as big as we like, to play it safe. And when I say safe, that's a relative term, right? Because I'm not talking about risking everything you have here. I'm just talking about maybe, taking a risk that you might fail. But that doesn't mean that you're going to lose everything, right? It just means taking a risk on something you don't know. For example, I think something interesting that I see a lot of people do is I see no shortage, like I was just talking about, of really massive, huge, wonderful ideas. There's not a shortage of them. I have a Facebook group, and we're streaming in it, and so many amazing Facebook voiceover artists in that Facebook group, and so many of you have incredible ideas. But I see so few of you following them. I see so few of you thinking big enough and inserting you inside that dream. And a funny thing happens when you do this. And this is the whole point to all this. And I want you to try this. You're watching. I want you to try this exercise. I want you to think of your craziest, your wildest dream. All right? The thing that you want to accomplish the most from all of this that you're trying to do, all this hard work, trying to grow this voiceover business, whether it's to be a full-time voice actor, whether it's to make a nice side income so you have some extra spending cash, whether you're retired and you're trying to just make some extra income to supplement your retired income. I want you to try this. I want you to imagine in your mind your wildest dream, the dream you want to come true. And then for a moment, I want you to say to yourself, what if I could really do it? What if, for just this moment, it was possible? Once you ask yourself that question, and I want you to erase everything in your mind, remember, we're going to suspend disbelief for a second. I want you to erase the idea that it's impossible to make this happen. And I want you to insert with the question, how can I make this happen? Something amazing will happen. Your brain will actually come up with ways to make it happen. I want you to try it right now. Think about what you want. And then tell yourself, honestly, that it is possible. And instead of asking yourself, am I going to make it? Is this possible? Ask yourself, how can I make it happen? You will find that your mind will begin to lay out steps, will begin to tell you what you need to do. It's amazing. I saw this one time on a documentary on the power of our minds, right? And the ideas of thinking big and getting beyond our impressions of not being able to do things. Anyways, the idea was this. They said, imagine if there was, you were in charge of the prison system in your area, and your job was to take all of the prisoners, 100% of the prisoners, and your job was to integrate all of them, all 100% of those prisoners, back into society as contributing citizens and citizens that never broke another law, paid their taxes, all right, and completely reformed, all 100%. And the idea behind the exercise was the first thing you would say is, I mean, that's really probably not likely, right? I mean, you're saying all 100% of these prisoners would go back into society and never create another crime, do everything they're supposed to. That's right. But the idea behind this documentary was suspend your disbelief for a moment and literally say to yourself, what if it was possible? What would you need to make it happen? What would have to be done? What things would need to be in place to make this work? And what's amazing is if you think about that exercise and you think in your mind, okay, so if I really want to think about, all right, it is possible for that to happen. All right, I've suspended my disbelief and made it possible. Now, what do I need? Well, I would think right off the bat, I would need some sort of system to where, we could have a program where all of these people in prison had a place to go to find jobs, but also were a part of rehabilitation meetings that they could be able to go to, maybe a mentorship program, maybe things a lot like AA in a way, right? But also, your brain starts to think of possibilities instead of thinking about all the things that it can't do. This is what I want you to do with your business. This is where the power of our mind comes in. Okay? It really is impressive. It might be from the magic of thinking big. It might be that story. It could be, if I remember correctly. But think about it. Take your business and say again, it's possible for me to reach my goals and my dreams. So now how do I do it? Your brain will come up with the answers. But here's the next part, and I think it's important to note this part. And I think this part is where we have to have courage. Because once you've done this for long enough, you start to realize that, it's not rocket science. You know what I mean? Business is not rocket science. It is pretty simplistic in nature, right? You sell a service, a product for more than it costs, and you make a profit. Okay? That's it's the trading of a commodity of some kind, right? And economics, et cetera, et cetera. But what becomes complicated is building what you dream of in the way you want to do it, with all of the baggage and all the things that we've been thrown on our shoulders, with all those numbers that says, only 1 out of 10 businesses succeed, 9 out of 10 businesses fail within their first 5 years, and then, and again, another 9 out of 10 fail in their, the first 10 years, the ones that succeed out of the 1 out of 10. I mean, like all these horrible things that happen, and that we can't do this and we can't do that. But when we think about, and this is another thing, right? When we think about the negative aspect of this whole thing, and we're constantly asking ourselves questions like, oh, is this possible? Am I actually going to be able to do it? I don't think that this is going to work. This is pretty, it's just not for me, or, I'm not good at that, or I'm never going to be that good, right? These things matter what you say. And the questions you ask yourself make all the difference in the world. So like I said, the idea of thinking big is changing your questions to ask the right questions. Ask questions like, what do I need to do to accomplish this? It's possible, so what can I do? Will this work? If I'm going to try this. Let's see if this works. Could this work? Another thing I like, I don't know if you know who Robert Kiyosaki is. But he wrote a variety of books, but of course his most famous one is Rich Dad, Poor Dad. And I read that book many, 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 many years ago. And it was another book that really changed my adult life, kind of shaped my ideas. And in that book, he talked about when he was young, him and his best friend. All right. And it was his rich dad was his best friend's dad, and the poor dad was his father. And he said that his rich dad, or his friend's dad, would never let him or his friend say they couldn't afford something. So you weren't allowed to say, I can't afford it. You had to say, how can I afford it? All right? What do I need to do in order to get it? Okay, there's such a difference in that. So how all of this matters with our voiceover business is I work with a lot of people who put a lot of limitations on themselves. Right? Well, I can't stay up that late to do the work. I work a full-time job. I'm so exhausted. I can't stay up as late as I need to. I've got to get my sleep. I can't call people because, no one's at work now. Everyone's at home because of what's going on in the world. And, I can't do this or I can't do that. And, turn all of those around to how can I make it work? Okay. And then the dreams that you have they become more than dreams. They become reality because you're actually going to them and you will reach them. A dream only stays a dream until you actually begin to put action behind it. Okay. Then it can become a reality. All right, I know I've been on a soapbox for like 15 minutes, so thank you for staying with me. I appreciate it. Looks like we've got, I don't know if it's been a while since this has been since Friday. We've got a bunch of people on Instagram today. It's good to have you guys. Let's see, we've got Jeff. It's good to have you, Jeff. We've got SA.UL6657. Thank you. I don't know what to call you on that one. We've got RD Britannia, National Park Nomads. I like that name. Welcome, good to have you. We got Britannia. Was that from the Magic of Thinking Big? Yep, we've got Jeremy, my man. We got Sam. Good to have you, Sam. We've got, oh yeah, absolutely. We also got, let's see, over on YouTube, we got Scott. What's up, Scott? We got Switch Gaming. We got Flyer here, which is Eric. Hello. I am the VO guy. Great to have you. Yeah, man, it's good to have you back, too. It feels so long as well because I'm not doing Mondays and Wednesdays now because I'm trying to make sure I'm switching off with my wife because she's working from home as well now. So, that's kind of happening there. We got Samir. Hello, what's up? We've got Greg from Facebook. It's great to have you. We've got Salco. I hope Salcho or Salco. I apologize. I said that wrong. But from Bosnia, what's up? We've got Drew from Periscope, which is Twitter. What's up, Drew? Drew Talks Tech. I like it. Samir, love the soapbox stuff. Thank you. Frank says, hi, Anthony. Fly here says, just finished a 15,000 word read for corporate training that had a chapter on visualizing success. They made the point that when you visualize it, you retain neural connectors. Nick says, evening. What's up, Nick? Absolutely, Eric. And that's a really good thing. And I want to, you made me think about visualization. And I think visualization is a wonderful tool. But I think using visualization, you need to get it out of your mind, moving a step further, and you need to write it down. You need to map it out. All right. Because the visual, it's like saying, again, if I imagine there's going to be $1 million right here, it's going to pop up, it's going to happen. Okay. I mean, we all know that's silly, but with that, and coupled with the idea that we can say, well, how do we get that $1 million? Okay. What are some ways we could get that money? That changes things, right? Then you picture the way to get it. So I absolutely believe in visualizing. The key to visualizing is making sure you're actually visualizing actions. And that's the key. Don't visualize the outcome. See, this is another thing too I love, because I played sports when I was younger, and I was fortunate to play some football in college, and a D3 college, which nothing wrong with that. But I wasn't at like a D1 school. But anyways, I played a little football in college, and a lot of about things were on visualization, but that there's a misunderstanding about visualization, right? And the misunderstanding is that when we visualize something, visualizing the outcome does us no good, right? Just like when we talk about lead measures and lag measures, right? Because if you talk about a lag measure and you visualize that, for example, lag measure could be, I want to make $5,000 this month. Okay, that lag measure, when you say that, you're like, okay, I'm going to visualize making $5,000 this month. Well, the problem with that is that there's no action there. When you visualize that, well, what's leading up to that, right? Because once that time comes, let's say you got $3,000. Well, how visualizing a sum of cash in your hands doesn't do any good. However, visualizing the actions that go into making that happen, that's what you need to do. Visualize yourself taking the action, all right? Which should lead you then to pushing yourself to take the action. So visualize the things that you actually need to do in order to get that thing that you want. Okay, so that's where we have to switch the visualization to the point of actually what we're doing, not what we're trying to get. Because by the time you visualize what you try to get, you know what I mean? It's not going to happen unless you do something. So you need to visualize what you're actually going to do. So visualization completely works. I just think most people visualize the wrong thing. Okay, they visualize. I mean, some of my most productive and better days of my life has always been when I visualized the actions and the activities I was going to do or I needed to do that day and how I was going to do them, not the outcome. Okay, the outcome is put on a plan. That's the idea of thinking big, figuring out how to actually make it happen. And then we visualize the things that we've come up with that need to be done in order to get there. Thank you, Eric. See, you got me started. All right. Well, hey, listen, I really appreciate this. I hope that this really helps you today. Really think about asking yourself a different type of question, right? Ask yourself, not can I make $1 million, but how? do I make $1 million? What are some different ways that I can make $1 million? What are the steps I need to take to grow my voiceover business to become a full-time voice actor? What does that look like, being a full-time voice actor? Okay? Don't ask yourself if you can do these things. Don't wonder if you should even consider the idea that you could go full-time. Start thinking about how you are going to do it. Think about the steps you need to take to do it. And if you give your mind those parameters, you give yourself those parameters, your mind will fill in the blanks. It is the most incredible thing ever created, I believe, is our minds. Because within our minds, we can, think about it. We can come up with infinite possibilities in our minds. The challenge is, do you have the courage to put action behind those ideas? I know you do. I know you do. All right. Thank you guys so much. I really appreciate you watching today. Have a wonderful Tuesday. If you haven't gotten a chance, check out avosjourney.com. That is my website. A lot of good stuff on there helping you grow your voiceover business, as well as if you'd like to join the Fiverr Elite group. This is a group that we meet every Saturday at 10 a.m. Eastern. It's a fantastic group that we get together and talk about how to grow our businesses, and mainly our Fiverr businesses. We use statistics. I do reviews. We have multiple top-rated sellers in there that give advice. We've got all kinds of stuff, and we've actually been building up some other people who do thumbnails, all kinds of cool stuff. So I'd love to have you there. There'll be a link in the description or on the website. If you get a chance to subscribe, please do. Like, share, retweet this if you're on Twitter. Share me in your story if you're on Instagram. But other than that, thank you guys for watching. Have a wonderful, wonderful week, and I will talk to you soon. Goodbye. Goodbye.